so much for being here tonight. What a lovely audience. I always love starting off our runs with the Theater Lovers Club. Thank you. This play is based on a true story of George Joseph Smith and the Brides and the Bath murders, which we researched a lot in the process of making this. Does anyone have any questions?
Where did you get the bathtubs?
The internet.
I really loved the production, and I thought it was very interesting how the comedy worked on such a serious matter. These comedy, it was like, wow, this is at times very funny, but at times, yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Thank you. I think the playwrights do such a lovely job of that, and you really do need that comedy to balance this show out. Otherwise, I can't imagine sitting for an hour and watching it.
But at times, it would be a certain line, and I was like, I wonder how that was written, or just how she is saying it, that it is so hysterical, and that, you know, maybe she could have done it completely flat, or whatever, you know, and so I was just wondering, was there a lot of guidance within the play, or was there, you know, I'll have to read the play, but I thought it was just remarkable, some of the levity that was.
There aren't a lot of stage directions.
There aren't.
Oh.
No, when you read the play, it's not like, this is a joke. But, you know, I mean, we talked about this a lot. We talked about the comedy in it and how important it is. And it's just, it feels true to them. Obviously, we don't know who these women, we don't know them personally, but they were real women. And women are funny. And so it's just like finding those moments, even if maybe perhaps it wasn't written to be funny, I can't say for sure, but I think each of us found certain lines of just kind of finding the truth behind it, and sometimes that truth is a joke. And I think that just brings them a little bit more to life. It makes them a little more like well-rounded, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
The timing was astronomical.
Yeah, your
And
timing.
the way you went back, the times you were in unison, great directing and great timing. And as another take on the timing, we can look at this as a historical piece, and yet it has real relevance for today. Although in many ways, I certainly have a close friend who's a bright. We can look at you and say, "Oh, these stupid ladies! Did they realize they were just?" And yet, I look at this friend of mine who's got a master's degree from Johns Hopkins. She's a little older than I am. She's incredibly lonely. She fell for one of these online romance scams and gave away her entire savings. And so when I think of, and we're reading, I mean, you know, every issue of the magazine is something about watching for fraud. So I think it's not only good timing and performance, it's good timing to produce this right now, because our culture is falling for fraud.
They're trying to get us back there.
Motivated by loneliness, and
They're trying to
it's
get us.
astronomical pace.
That's a great way of saying it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, Suzanne.
Jody told me when we were looking at the program, this was written by 3 different playwrights, and I said, that'll never work. How on earth did they manage to do that, and how did you first hear about the show?
This was originally produced at the Edmonton Theatre Festival in Canada, and it was co-written by 2 graduate students who played, there were only 2 brides at the time, and then their teacher, Charlie, was their director and sort of co-wrote it with them, so they developed this play together, the 3 playwrights, for the Fringe Festival, and then sort of rewrote it and wrote in Margaret, and originally there was a lot of pop culture and modern references, which have slowly been pruned out of the show.
Wisely, I think.
So that's where the play itself started. And I heard about this show, I saw it about 10 years ago in Austin, Texas, and was just totally captivated by the story. I didn't even know that it was based on a true story at the time that I first saw it. And it's just been one of those plays that you never forget, and it's been on my directing wish list for a long time. And as I was thinking about what stories we wanted to tell at the lab in 2026, I thought, this feels like a good time to tell this story. And I just love the way that theater has the ability to give voice to the voiceless. We know so much about George Joseph Smith, and we know relatively little about the women that he killed, and I wanted to give us that opportunity to hear from them.
Yes, well done.
Well done.
I saw a question down here.
I was gonna ask what drew you to the play.
It really sticks in the brain. So, Jennifer.
I just want to technically, how did you rig water in this theater? I mean, how did you get 3 showers going?
Well, we know what you had to do.
I
I know what you had to do this
This
evening.
is a phenomenal production.
Thank you. Well, you'll notice that in the bathrooms there are caution signs because the hot water is very hot. We had to turn up the hot water heater, and we're running a line from that hot water heater through the ceiling to these 3 shower heads you see. So it's all rigged up. Our technical director Hanya Stocker and our set designer Chris Connard worked their magic on that.
One thing I was astonished by is we have 3 characters, but they played, I'm guessing, somewhere between 8 and 10 roles. That was really amazing.
Very good.
I really appreciated that. Yeah, excellent. How many characters altogether do you know?
At
Or
least
just,
4 or 5 each.
I have 7.
oh,
You have
yeah.
7?
Something like that too.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna guess 7.
A lot.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's
Good
so
job.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Could see that.
and the way
yeah.
that we've talked about it is it's like these women are playing the character. So it's like I'm playing Margaret, playing, you know, so it's like it's their retelling. And it's maybe their imagination too. You know, there's so many moments that the women really didn't get to have. They didn't get to have actual weddings. So you see them putting on their wedding dresses and, you know, encouraging each other. You look so beautiful. That's perhaps not something they actually experienced.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of making up the stories. They're finding there are the truths within it. And there are real bits, like the letters that we say are real letters. That's actually his words. And so there are real bits in there, but then it's also these characters kind of telling their own story and imagining things in a certain way. So it's a really cool piece of it.
Yeah, this part of the play was something that I was maybe the most excited for to sign on to this project. It's like, when do you ever get to, like, you're on stage the entire time in the same costume, and there's 7, 8 different characters that you get to play, and distinguishing that through just voice and body is, it's been really fun and really interesting, very different. I doubt, I don't know if there's any other play that has this,
We talked a lot in rehearsal about how to distinguish the characters through accents and physicality and vocal quality, because energy, it moves so quickly that we really had to help the audience know where are we and who are we with in a given moment. I saw a question over here. Yes.
I'm curious about the staging too. How different is this from the one you saw before? Because you have to have the 3 tubs on, so what other kind of design decisions?
Where did you get the
I mean, we talked a little bit about how we might want it arranged. We talked at one point about putting this in the round, but we decided there's so many parts in unison that we wanted the tubs in a row so that we could see the unison moments, which is how the show that I saw was staged as well. Although that was a totally different space. It was about half the size of this theater, with a really tall bank of audience seating, and so you were much farther from the stage. And I love in this space how close we get to come to the tubs.
Did anybody get splashed?
Just us? That's crazy.
At the very end.
Oh, those with the design.
each of you, what is a lesson that you've taken away from learning this story and playing these characters and diving into this? Emily, you as well.
For me, I feel like the first thing that popped in my head is just surrender. Surrendering to my fellow team here and like trusting each other and knowing that we are all in this together and the show will happen, and trusting myself and surrendering to the water and the cold and the wet and there's so many uncomfortable elements to this show. But I feel like once that surrender happens, it's so freeing, and the story is told, and we're together and we don't notice it. So that's been something that's been challenging but important.
I think for me, it's really just hammered home how much of an art form theater is. Is art, and like duh, like we all of us know that, but it's really just hit like all the different ways that you can use theater to make art. You know, I always think of myself as an actor as like the paint on the canvas, you know, and sometimes that paint is a little more watery. and the way that we can work through challenges, like this is a challenging show, it's challenging text. It's obviously challenging technically. Like Mariah said, you are getting used to things that, you know, it's not every day that you're soaking wet on stage. But just the way that all those come together to create this really incredible piece of art that is so important, and I think really affects everyone who sees it, I hope. It really, all of those things come together in such a beautiful way to make a huge impact and to tell a very important story and make you feel something. So it just really hammered home how amazing theater is and as an art form, and how important it is, especially right now. The arts need more support, and this is why. We see the emotion that it can bring.
Your turn.
Gathering my thoughts.
I knew this, but it was really hammered home for me just how important it is to build trust with the team, with the ensemble, and to trust the story that we're telling. This show, I was ready for it to be really difficult. It's a difficult text. There's so much, single words and unison moments and overlapping and changing characters, and there's water in the tubs and showering down, and how are we going to make sure that the stage floor doesn't get wet and soaked through, and how are we going to do this and that, and sound and lights, and it was surprisingly smooth, the process. And I think, it's in part due to these three wonderful artists here who, on our first day of reading the play, I was like, did you guys meet without me? We're all already in unison in these moments, and it seems like we've already been rehearsing. It was great, the immediate connection, and then we worked a lot at playing together and finding, each other's energy and building that trust with each other, and that really allowed for this ease. Anytime we would bring a new element in, it was just like, oh, okay, that's new. All right, let's play with that. And I think approaching it with curiosity and openness and building that connection with each other really allowed us to tell the story and to trust each other and trust the story that we're telling.
Yeah, it's whenever I'm in the middle of a project, I'm kind of, I don't know what the lesson is or what it's even about a little bit. I just really immerse, but I think I would say, yes, it's very immersive. And I think that I would say that something that's been really interesting and informative and different that's really stood out to me is storytelling from within the spirit realm, like within the liminal, within memory, and these kind of slippery, not fully lucid or linear states, and working with like how do you build that world that's not in a tangible world? And that was a big question that I had when we started this process, and it's been so interesting to see that come together through, I mean, for me, there's a big like voice and embodiment piece, but then, you know, we all as actors, directors, collaborating with the script and with the story had such a cool piece already, but then the tech, the world building elements of like the lighting, the costumes, the set, water, that has all really coalesced to, I feel like I've been able to kind of trance out and like drop into this very strange world in a really unique to this show way. So I hope that answers your question, but yeah, that's something that's really stood out to me, is that like world building.
I get it.
Yes.
Was the synchronized swimming at the beginning part of the script?
It is part of the script. It just says they do a synchronized swimming routine. So
Emily choreographed.
Yeah,
She's
she
our
did.
choreographer.
Anyone else?
You should let them
Yes.
go.
Knowing that your characters were not fictional, but real people who murdered, affect your acting, or how did it affect your approach to your?
Yeah. We had a lot of we had a lot of talks about that as actors and with Emily, and you know that we want to bring some sort of justice to them, to not go on a huge rant here. But these women, you know, they exhumed them to help solve their own cases. The solving of this case was kind of insane, how they were able to do all of this, especially at the turn of the century. They exhumed them, it was this huge thing, and then they put them back into unmarked graves. And so we still don't know exactly where they're buried. They're buried with multiple people in unmarked graves to this day. And so that's something that stuck with me, is like we're giving them this voice that they haven't really had a chance to get. Their bodies helped solve their cases, and then it was like, you know. And so this is a really powerful piece in that it's giving them that voice. And so I think that's something that we all carry, is that importance, that these are real women, we are telling their stories. So while we do have fun with it, of course there's like the jokes, but we all do carry that with us. It's heavy.
Honor.
Yeah, but it is an honor to be able to do that. Yeah.
I just want to say, after that, there were some gorgeous moments of ceremony,
Yes.
right, where there was remembrance
Yeah.
in memoriam.
Yeah.
But there were also times where you showed the innocence and the youth and like the girlhood, and that's where the fun and the play came in too, and that made the intense parts that much more intense, right? Because it made these girls real. It made them relatable, and just a wonderful job as an ensemble doing
Well, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for starting the run off on such a wonderful note. Tell your friends we run through June 28th, and we hope that we can fill this house for the rest of the run. Thank you all so much.